signal. It's one of those days I'm losing signal, aren't I? And we need to focus, get our focus lined up right. And so this is where I'm at right now. I pay a lot for rent, like $5,500 a month. And I'm okay with that to a certain point, because where I live right now, where we've chosen to live, is sort of a dream for us up in the mountains. But there's just very little inventory available, right? The market's been pushed up. As a matter of fact, everything where I'm living is up double since 2018. It's up 100%. It's absolutely insane. And we're starting to see inventory increase a little bit, but rentals are very hard to get. Now, I have decided to move to another location that's less expensive. Here's the problem. Rent is still, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, not that big, 1,900 square feet, is around $4,000 a month. I would love tops and the bottoms perfectly. That's never going to happen. When I sold my homes in 2005, mid 2005, I was in sheer panic. It still took 4 years almost to really see the bottom of the housing market. And we're already seeing home prices decline in a lot of areas, but we're also seeing very little inventory, which means some places in the country stay really strong. So this is how I went through this process. And then, well, you know what? I'll tell you the story about what happened to me in 2005. See, in 2005, I had 14 rentals, and I started to liquidate them because everything was going crazy. Also, things in my life were going crazy. My parents, my in-laws, and my brother and sister-in-law announced that they're getting divorced within 8 weeks of each other. To say that my life was flipped completely around was an understatement. I was a full-time firefighter. I had a 2-year-old son. And I said, you know what? We've got to get away from the craziness. We're going to move out of town. We moved far away, me and my wife, a couple hours away. 30 days into, and mind you, we were running our own real estate business. We were flipping homes, crazy. 30 days into living in a new house. We bought a new home. We moved over there. Found out that we were pregnant with my second child, my daughter. And I just said, oh my gosh, I need my mom. And the reason why I said that was because I was a full-time firefighter. I was gone at minimum 3 days, 72 hours a week. And back then I was trying to pick up every overtime shift I can. Even though I was flipping homes, I was making hay while the sun shined. In 2005, I'm like, if the bottom's going to fall out of the housing market and we're not going to have the income from our the rentals, or because we're selling them, or the flips, the home flips, because we were doing a home flip about every, I don't know, every couple months to 4 months. I was busy. And I said, we need to take all the overtime. Well, my wife having a 2-year-old child and a newborn was not going to work. And so I said, we need to move back now. And she goes, okay, where are we going to buy? And I went and picked out a track house. I knew that I was paying a lot for it. We were at the top of the market. Inventory was tight. And I even told my wife, I said, this home's going to fall by 50% when it all said and done. And she said, it doesn't matter. As long as our payment is fixed and we can pay our payments, if we like the house, we're going to be happy. Well, I picked a house that had a big enough lot to where I had choices. I talk about that a lot. When it comes to buying real estate, you want multiple choices, multiple ways to sell it, multiple ways to make money from it. Because the more choices you have in life that you put out there, that you attract, the more choices you have, the more opportunities you're going to have. So we went and bought that place, and we turned around and we moved in. We sold the house a couple hours away, moved in, and that's when I started my side hustles. That's when I started the palm tree business. I started, eventually it morphed into tractors, selling tractors and implements during the Great Recession. And then it led to trailer sales. Now, I was right. That home fell 46%, almost darn near 50% in value, but it didn't matter. And my wife was right, because the payment was still the same. It never changed. And I went from just being a firefighter and having a business flipping real estate, where I was making more money selling palm trees and tractors. I was making like $100,000 to $150,000 a year doing this. And a lot of people don't realize that either. They think that there's so much prestige with flipping homes or owning real estate, when in all reality, the biggest chunk of the pie, if there's no appreciation in that equation, actually, it goes to this estate sales or the real estate services industry. They're the ones that make more money. And so those side hustles did amazing, right? I was banking precious metals and cryptocurrency and all kinds of stuff, which would honestly change my life forever because of the level of wealth, right? That's just how it happens. And while everybody was, working to spend their money, I was working to save my money, working to invest my money. And so that did me really well. Oh, real quick, I'll mention this is the last day the side hustle course will be on sale for $199. So there's a link down below. So I'm now, that was 2005, right? Now I find myself in the exact same scenario. Think about this. I'm at the peak of a real estate market. It's already starting to downturn. I have liquidated certain assets of mine, and I'm running on a razor thin. Like I'm mostly in cash and equivalents. Sorry, cash equivalents. And I'm renting. I left my job, left the security of a full-time firefighter job after 23 years. I walked away and took the greatest gamble of my life. I said, I'm going to get ready for this real estate crash. Here's the problem. Right now, I'm making different ranges of income return, right? I have money in Bitcoin. Bitcoin can go up and down. Got money in gold and silver. That can go up and down. I've got money in bonds and money markets. Those are making me between 4 and 5% right now per year. Here's the problem. I want to go and do what's right and go live within my means, well within my means, and wait to pick up real estate. The problem is I went and did the math, and to pay rent, the rent I'll be spending is way more if I went and bought a property. It's because the rent is way more than I'm getting in as a return on my money. See, when you go and buy a house, the return on your money is the money that you're saving. If I'm not paying rent, and let's say I buy the house cash, I am saving all of that money, the rent amount, let's say $4,000 a month, put $48,000 a year. If I go and put 10% down on a property or 5% down, do an owner occupied loan, and now I'm paying, right now, those numbers for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area would run about $4,800 a month. In that scenario, it would be cheaper to rent. I would be saving $800 a month because the comparable house for rent is $4,000. So I have to make the decision of what is going to put the most amount of money in my pocket, whether that be earnings or savings, which quite frankly are the exact same. And everybody always asks me this question: when do I buy? When do I buy? And I'm all, you have to answer that question because it's such a fluid, there's so many answers to that, so many different scenarios. You have to find out all your different options, whether that be pay cash for a property. And some people have the cash to buy a condo. Some people have the cash to buy a mansion, right? I am definitely not going to be one of those. And I'm going to tell you, even if I had the money to buy a mansion, I'm not joking, I'm buying a tiny house. Because this isn't the time to go braggadocious and go crazy. Because I understand that for every dollar that I don't put into that home, I also can go and make a rate of return somewhere else on it. This is a life thing that I'm going through right now. So let me share with them what I'm doing. And that is, I'm not going big. But I'm not putting all of my cash on the sidelines and sitting back renting, because there's also risks to that as well. Where you have your capital is very important. And so with me, it's diversified. The other thing people don't realize when it comes to real estate is when I was in that track house in California, and I had the palm tree business and the tractor business, I couldn't have had that if I didn't have a property that would allow me to do that. Or I would have had to have rented a storage unit, a storage space, which would cost me more money to be able to put the palm trees, a piece of property, and that stuff, it costs a lot of money. So it afforded me the ability to be able to make a lot of money on the side. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. But see, my side hustle is different now. Now, ironically, I want to start another palm tree and bamboo farm. I know it sounds funny. And if you knew a lot about me in my past with finances, you'd go, why in the heck would you do that? Well, first, because it brings me joy. It brings me joy to plant plants. I love digging holes with tractors. Oh my gosh, just give me a tractor. So, I won't say it. Just I have a lot of fun digging holes, and it clears my mind. So I need a place that I can do my custom woodworking, building things, creating things. I like to do sort of art stuff. By the way, if anybody has a World War II aircraft laying around in pieces, I need a tail and a wing from any World War II aircraft in Nevada. I will drive to you. Just let me know. That's my next piece that I want to build. I want to build furniture out of airplane parts. I do stuff like that. So it clears my mind, right? Another reason is one of my side hustles now is teaching people around the world how to start a business and how to start a side hustling. My goal is to see people making an extra $50,000 to $100,000 a year. That's my goal. That's my job now. And it's the greatest side hustle I think I could have ever done, is teaching people how to be successful. So when I run into you, you're super pumped. I told you the story of going to SEMA, and I was covering the auto show, and someone ran up to me that had taken some courses from me, and their first year, they're out of the gate in the auto industry making $150,000. That's incredible, right? So that's my side hustle now. So I need a place to film. I need a place to concentrate. I need a place to read. And right now there's a lot of chaos in my life. Well, that also has a dollar value. And so people that don't have a lot of money, they tend to concentrate when they first get into investing. Okay, when am I going to be rich? When Lambo? When am I going to buy low and sell high? And you're like, okay, it's the journey of buying low and selling high, and where your mental abilities and capacity and your cognitive reasoning is in between those two the price points, but also timelines. See, because as you and the older we get, the more we understand this and learn this, know this to be true. Type 1 if you agree, that without a clear mind, you can't make good decisions, especially when it comes to finance. You see, the world is all around us in chaos. And our goal is to use the chaos to our advantage to make a lot of money. And then really, and please understand how important this is, to take that money and be good human beings with it, to help other people, right? So I've got to make clear-minded decisions. And right now it's between, and it's funny because you're going to see the inside of my home when I get it, if I get this one that I'm putting an offer in on, because I'm going to do some things and fix it up, and it'll just be sort of part of the videos. People will see what I do for a hobby. But it's because I have to make good choices now. My wife told me, because I was having a rough day the other day, and she goes, you feel obligated to live the life that you're teaching everyone to live, to be successful. And I said, yep, that's exactly what I'm going through. And she goes, they didn't go through what you did when you had hard financial times. A lot of people haven't gotten to where you have, and so that's your past, and that's the story, and that's what you teach them, and then you can teach them where you're at now. But even still to this day, I can't, it's hard to let loose of the purse strings at times. Even my very good friends know this about me. I'm still frugal. I still consider both sides of the story. I don't just go out and blow money. And that's what I'm doing now in my real estate venture, this latest one, because I want the big properties. I told you before, my goal is to never lose the deal on the big winery again. I'm gonna have the big winery, and the reason why I say that is because it was a goal of mine. It was something that slipped through my fingers in 2009, and I told myself I would be ready for that the next time it came around. There's a lot of things that I've been working on. One of my companies that are going to go public. I never thought when that happened I would be in the public eye. I just thought I'd be a quiet entrepreneur that took a company public along with my business partners. And now it just blows all of them away too, because we've been working on it since 2014. And now it's like, it's a whole new ball game. Like, and that's why I thought this would be a great video to do, to just share with you my story, my struggles in the past and current, and my decision-making process, because there are a lot of people out there, type 2 if you agree with this. I'm just curious if people are going through this. They're like, I don't know which way to go. I don't know if I should buy a house, sell a house. I don't know if I should do this or do that, and you're just so confused. And my story, if that's you, is to sit back and weigh multiple outcomes, multiple scenarios. If you have a check in your gut, because I thought about it, I'm like, heck with it, I'll just go buy a big fancy house and just chill out and live life, love life. There's a lot of people doing that right now. I said, no, it's not the time. This is not the time. And I think my greatest work is ahead of me. My greatest inspiration is ahead of me, because I'm going to choose the harder road and not the road that's easy. And quite frankly, I've never heard anyone that had an easy life that told an amazing story. And I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to relive or rehash the things that came up in my life in the past that were hard, so that I can learn from them and teach others so that they will not make the same mistakes that I did. I think it's really, really, really important. There's a Bible verse that comes to mind that says, a good man saves money for his children's children. And I think a lot of people gloss over that verse. And the reason why it's so important is because a good man doesn't only think of himself and his family, he thinks about the future and the future generations. And that is not only a good man, but a man that is more global, more kingdom focused than a man that would just think about himself or thinking about, his family. Carlos says he's a rags to riches story. And it's true. Carlos, I keep trying to talk into starting his own YouTube channel, but I think he's scared. He's going to now call me. I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, dude, why haven't you started it? He's a restaurant entrepreneur. He's been into all kinds of stuff. Like, you got to tell your story, dude. You just need to sit down and tell your story. Carlos, I'm publicly shaming you. Tell everyone, Carlos, start the YouTube channel. Because quite frankly, he's very intelligent and has been through so much. And that's what we need to do, is we need to learn from more and more people that have been through the stuff. Because a wise man, a truly wise man, will share with you his failures before he shares his success, because he remembers how painful it was to go through the hard times, and he doesn't want anyone to go through that. How many of you feel like that? How many of you are warning people because you don't want them to go through pain? Well, then expand that into your own life. Don't count every penny sometimes for this big crash coming, because if you're not clear in your mind and you're not at peace in your heart, you're not going to make the money or get to the level in life. And you may get there, but you'll be miserable by the time you get there. Sometimes it's weighing the facts, making the hard decision, but knowing that it's going to create joy and peace. And those don't always come together, just so you know. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you to everybody that supports this channel. Even if it's just a thumbs up or a comment, a share, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for everything. You are awesome. The Real Estate Ninja is out.